a dumb extra right now.
You already know what it is. It's the Uptown Savior, the boy JaeTips. I'm with my man Bob, and I'm here to show y'all my top 3 fitteds and what I got going in my collection. Let's do it.
You're dumb extra right now.
Oh, hey, Bob.
When I go po, just laugh right until I run out of gas, at the gas.
Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Chilling with Bob, where you already know we ain't talking about some of the flyest, nostalgic, and trendiest hat drops. So today, really bringing forward the hat culture in a real way. And I can't front, y'all. I'm super inspired and extremely hyped to introduce my next guest. When it comes down to your top 5 flyest hats out right now, his hats has to be in your rotation. And I ain't gonna say it should be number 5, you know what I'm saying? But I think the best thing about my next guest is his grind, his come up to where he's at right now. I think he epitomizes the terms stay down till you come up and believe fully in your shit. So with his Savior Worldwide hats really creating so much buzz out here amongst people and amongst celebs, you know I had to tap in with him and get his top 3 go-to hats. So without any further ado, people, help me welcome to the show, JaeTips. Let's go. That's my guy, right?
Nah, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. Phenomenal intro. I appreciate that. I feel like I don't speak enough about like the story and the journey, so you know I appreciate you taking the time out to come chop it up with me.
Yeah, man, nah, no doubt, bro. I appreciate you getting on, man. So everybody already know what Tips is here to do, and that's to give us his top 3 go-to hats. So without any further ado, Tips, let's get into your first
drum roll.
top 3 hat.
You know, I like speaking, so you know, before I get into my top 3,
right.
You know, I'm about comfort. You know what I'm saying? I'm like even my perspective of how I design and like how I like deal with colors and all that. A lot of times, me personally, I like to stay comfortable. So I would say I didn't really bring. Do I bring them all out at one time?
No, you bring one at a time.
One at a time. All right. So what I'm gonna start it off with, where it all started, and that's just the navy, clean, no patch Yankee, just forever on some fly. Savior, gray bottom, white inside, the on-field hat from I believe 1996 until I believe 2001 was the Yankee hat. You know, to me, is this hat means a lot to me because it's a blank canvas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think where the hat game is, I think where a lot of love for headwear and stuff comes from a lot of what the Yankees was doing around this time, just being the on-field hat. And I think a lot of creatives, we've seen this as a canvas about what can we do from here? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I decorate it? How can I put my brand on it? And, you know, this being like just the standard fitted, like it just, you know, it's something that it makes me feel comfortable. Like every time I get on a trip, every time I do something, I make sure I have on a fresh Yankee.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Listen, all throughout the show, everyone comes on and they bring the Yankee or they bring the Mets, right? Yeah. So the Yankee hat is always infamous on the show and is always welcome. But this one right here is like the special one. This is like the first Savior hat. You know what I mean? And so what inspired you to actually get into creating hats? Like, what made you want to start with the hat?
So, you know, my first love for headwear came from, you know, my dad every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks used to take me to get a haircut. And a part of the haircut process was you go get a haircut and then we go get a fitted. So, you know, growing up, like I would always get into the hat store and I had to pick of the litter. But the Yankees were real successful when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. So, you know, if you was inspired by anybody, if you wanted to look like anybody, going to get a Yankee hat meant everything to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's where my love came from. But what made me start really like designing on hats was, you know, being an independent artist, doing a lot of different showcases and stuff. When you try to get your pics online, when you getting photographers hitting you from different angles, you always seeing like MoMA, you seeing
Right, yeah,
another
that's right.
brand, you seeing
Yeah.
Bentrill, you seeing
Right,
a
yep.
lot of different shit that's fly.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's like if I can influence people to buy that shit, if I can influence people to buy a Supreme hat, like I want my logo on one side, I want my logo on the back, and I'm gonna put a pin on the other side.
Right.
So whatever angle you catch me at, you're gonna see I'm gonna be branded.
Right.
Like, and that's kind of what made me really like want to put my own shit on hats, and you know, it kind of took off from there. Like I would say.
Yeah, see, you know what? I wanted to ask you more about the Forever on Some Fly, right? What does that quote mean to you when you bring it up?
So
I see it a
Forever on
lot.
Some Fly, you know, it comes from a Nipsey Hussle song, Forever on Some Fly Shit, off of one of the first, I think it's the first Marathon mixtape. And, you know, just Forever on Some Fly Shit, I'ma draw the line, you niggas pick who you gonna ride with, was the complete bar. And to me, it's like, you know, I'm somebody who always carries a chip on his shoulder, somebody who always feels like, you know, I had to work 12 times, 13 times harder than others to kind of get to a certain point. Right. And, you know, at the end of the day, I was never resentful of my process, but I understood that, you know, I had to be like that person over the hill that took the arrows and the shots and everything
that
to kind
pioneer,
of get to get somewhere. So Forever on Some Fly just to me always represented, like, you know, I drew the line and I chose my side, and my side was to follow my dreams and fight for everything I believe in and stay fly in the process.
Yo, number one, everything you said was completely fire. And honestly, Nipsey, like, you bringing up Nipsey as one of your, like, inspirations for that. Nipsey has always been mine as well in a whole other aspect, right? We talked about that off camera a little bit. But I do want to take it back, right? 'Cause I know you're going to come out with we're going to get the hats. We're going to get to the hats. But I think more importantly, I think people need to really understand who you are and where you come from, because me, when I do my due diligence and go into people's like lives and I kind of go backwards and kind of do my investigation, I was like instantly inspired by your come up, right? You are now obviously someone who is known for his the Savior Worldwide brand and your hats and your pins. But you were, prior to this, upcoming artist, right? Upcoming rapper,
Well,
right?
still, I would say,
I'm
still a up and coming independent artist.
Right. So, but I think people don't really know the difference, right? How's the grind been different between you coming up as an artist and you building your brand, how it is right now? What's the difference?
It's been different, but you know, a lot of times I feel like I do a good job at marketing, and I think that marketing sometimes tells a nice story, no matter what you promote it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, for instance, I'm on YouTube, and you know how YouTube got pop-up ads and stuff like that. Like, sometimes you think that they're promoting a movie and they're promoting detergent.
Right.
Or you think they promoting a Netflix comedy special, but then it says now available at Walmart.
Right.
Like, just because of a joke. So I think that there's been a lot of parallels, and I think a lot of the things that I've learned from the grit of making music and trying to put music out, I've learned to just apply yourself in the same way in the fashion world.
Yes.
And it's crazy to see different results though.
Yeah.
And that's been something that I've had to deal with. I've had to deal with just sometimes making multiple flyers for a show, because if people see the same thing, you're gonna fall in somebody's algorithm. When you do that with fashion, it probably works a little bit better than getting people to your show.
Oh.
But when I promote my sweatpants, and now I do one picture is on a white background, next picture is on a model, the next picture is on me.
Right.
I promoted it 3 times and I gave you 3 different looks.
Right.
And that's the same thing I was doing with music. The same thing I was doing a screenshot, then I was showing somebody supported me, and then maybe I'll show like a blog article. But it was all for me to promote the same video or album or just whatever it might be. So I think that as much as it's been different, it's been kind of like the same, because it's the same principles. I think if you build principles about how you want to go about what you do, then you kind of gonna see sometimes things are pop up in different ways for you, and blessings will pop up in different ways for you as well.
Nah, I love it, man. I love the Savior brand. I think the Savior brand came out super dope. I have another question for it, but I want to get into your number 2.
So I would say my number 2, and like I said too, it's not. it's not like my favorite hats, but it's my go-to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Looking at my questions.
I would say my next go-to is Conflex. It's one of the first hats I designed for HATCLUB.
Right.
This is my this is technically infrared, but you know, my influence was salmon.
Right.
It was something that, you know, I can brag about and say you haven't seen before I did it, with the blue blue underbottom, which is you know, that was direct influence from HATCLUB, like some of the movements that they were making at the time.
Right.
The colorway, the patch, one of my favorite patches, the 2000 World Series. It was a when I had the opportunity, of course, it's like I was doing Savior for a minute on the internet. People walk around the city in my fitteds, people tagging me, showing love, and me just being a consumer, me walking in the HATCLUB. They speaking to me about other things they seen me do, like, yo, if you ever want to do something with us, you know, let me know. So I came back to the drawing board with these ideas, and I was like, you know, people see my fitteds and they see Savior.
Right.
So how can I design something that they gonna see and they still gonna say that's JaeTips?
Right. How did you get that?
And that's when I put the colors together.
Right.
Like I was already running with the purple and the infrared colors from the flower on my Air Force and stuff like that. So it was like, you know what? If people see those colors and I market it a certain type of way and I fucking got this dripping Yankee where it's the colors and stuff, I feel like people would see a product that doesn't have my name on it and they would know that it's a JaeTips thing. The same way like you might feel about like polo undershirts. So you might feel about like brands that like people might know this is a Dior shirt without it saying Dior. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that this was one of the hardest challenges that I had, but it's definitely my go-to because I feel like no matter, you don't know why you don't know whose hat that is, you know it's clean. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times you might see something and you might be like, oh yeah, I see you supporting my mans, I see you doing all of that. People gonna wear this whether they have a feeling or the expression or anything about me just because it's clean. And
yeah, sure.
This was, you know, I would say that's my second go-to.
Yo, it's crazy. I think I spoke to someone else that did a HATCLUB collaboration, and they told me about how difficult it could be to work with them because it's so much commercial things like trademark things, right? They may have an issue with, right? So you're right. So you having to find something that was like another staple of who you were, right? And that was one of my things. Like I love not only your concepts, but I love your color schemes, right? Yeah. Like how important is it that you pick certain color schemes for your hats?
Before I got into like the hat space, I was doing like, you know, a bunch of like focus groups and like I would chop it up with Nike a lot about things. So one thing that when I would go out to like Portland, go out to Beaverton and chop it up with them, I would like learn what a lot of different people do. And I feel like a company that big, like even though I'll tie it back in, company that big, it's like you see a Jordan and you just see the Jordan, but you don't see that one person worked on the color, another person worked on the materials, another person worked on the story, another person worked on like how everything functions and how it fits on your foot. So to me, when it comes to colors, it's like that's as important as the product. Right. And when it comes to somebody wanting to see something and you have to sell it, like you have to think about it in a way of how can I come off in a situation where people see this hat and they understand it and they feel some type of way about it, like colors and energies and just little things like that. And I take that serious. I take that pretty serious, that like, how are you gonna feel when you see this next JaeTips collection? Are you gonna feel like it's just, oh, he just took a bag or he took a check from somewhere? Or are you gonna feel like he's continuing to tell a story through colors and feelings and expressions and stuff? And I feel like I do that pretty well when it comes to like the way I kind of construct like headwear colors and shit like that.
Nah, I love it. This shit is definitely fire. I know a lot of people are kind of scared to mess with color palettes, right? A lot of people want to stick to the blacks, stick to your normal red,
the safe
maybe.
colors.
The safe colors.
And I learned that from like one of my mans, my close friends, Noel Bronson. His background is he was a buyer.
Oh, right.
And I remember being like at like a trade show with him one time, and just like this dude was telling me that most brands make black shirts or white shirts because that's safe.
Right. Yep.
You make a yellow, you got to market it a certain type of way. You make an orange, you got to market it a certain type of way. And it's like, Like, why not jump out the window? If you get a once in a lifetime opportunity to design your own hat and not just embellish it, why wouldn't you want to do something off the wall?
Yeah, man. Nah, I love that. Like, the whole aspect is completely 100% right, man. Because obviously you couldn't put the savior sign back there, right? Did that make it even more difficult for you besides having to find a color? It was like, yeah, the color was one thing I could touch on, but
to me, it wasn't that I couldn't put savior on the back. It was me taking the leap of faith to feel like I can exist in two different worlds.
Right.
Like, I could live in a world where people have savior hats, and I could live in a world where people wear a hat that's still a JaeTips hat that doesn't say savior. And it's also, like, not to put all the business out there, but you mentioned like business with HATCLUB, which is not business technically with HATCLUB. It's because HATCLUB is still a store.
right.
So it's new era stuff. It's MLB licensing. It's how the hat game kind of pretty much works, where if I design this hat, it ends up in a system.
Right.
And it ending up in a system, somebody else can order it.
Oh.
Or another sales rep can tell a store like, yo, this is gonna bring y'all some money. Y'all should buy this hat. Yo,
Right.
I just seen this kid design this hat for HATCLUB. He got 3,000 comments. I think y'all should order this color hat.
Oh, so now it becomes a hat that's in the pool.
So if you
right.
decide to do anything when it comes to new era, you putting it in a pool.
Right.
And putting savior on a hat, you putting it in a pool.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
Unless you
see?
have a licensing deal with them, unless you super trademarked on everything. But if you want to put savior on a hat, it's gonna have to now go through the Yankees.
Oh,
It's gonna have to go through approval. So
That's crazy.
if you want to design a hat and you want this shit out in 90 days, you want this shit out in 60 days, don't put nothing on it. But if you want to put something on it, it's gonna take 7 months. You put something on it, now you're gonna have to talk to lawyers. Now you're gonna have to send paperwork. Now you're gonna have to do all of this for the same, maybe not even make no bread. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah,
like, you know,
that's true.
it's one of those shits where you gotta kind of pick your poison and shit. And it's like I don't never regret it because I learned a lot about the process. Like, you know, it's more like I kind of like tripled my worth to the hat game, because it's like you can't strip me of my brand, because I could take savior off of something and I could still exist.
Right.
So and that's, you know, that's pretty much kind of how that goes.
Legit when it comes down to this hat thing, not only because of your brand being so dope, but you already was on point when it came down to particular hat brands, right? From even back in the day, right? I always say my golden age is like mid 2000s, you know what I'm saying? And being in Soho and shopping and standing online for certain brand drops. So I remember seeing you with some of the Undefeated hats. I saw you with some of the Bape hats, the BBC ones, and even the Don C's. Like, how important do you think those hat drops were in terms of impacting the hat culture right now?
I think you got to be a student of the game, and I appreciate you mentioning that. There's things that you haven't even mentioned that we talk a little off the air, and if people didn't know, are my like direct influences when it comes to just how I kind of feel and navigate through the hat game. Like, you're right, some of those BBC hats was the first hats that I would go and get to complete my outfit.
Yep.
The same way now people go to all these hat stores and they get fly. Right. That was me going to BBC, because I go to hat store and get a Navy Yankee, go get a Dodger hat, but now I want something that got a little bit more color to it.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff. Another store to mention was like Volt in Harlem. Yep. Like Volt in Harlem, like, was one of the early stores that had like a really good New Era account that was making their own hat that you were proud to wear. Like, you were like, people were like, oh, you got that fitted from, bro? Like, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, playing with materials and stuff, like doing
Crazy.
a lot, like. And just like even that, it just kind of like just trying to get into all of that, like trying to make sure I had like BBC trucker hats, and Supreme was playing with different materials and stuff like that. And it's, you know, I was a student of the game, you know what I'm saying? And so I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with headwear before I ever even decided to make a hat.
Make it, right.
So I think that when I was able to get an opportunity, it's like I've already retained so much information through being a consumer.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people who love to shop don't always realize that you are an encyclopedia of information already, because you're not just stepping out there. You know how hard it is to do something when you don't have no experience? You got mad experience, bro. You know what I mean? Time times I've been in these stores?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm
fact.
saying? These companies are paying people money to go visit stores to see what's going on. And I've been in Kith 800 times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, so just being like a historian of like headwear and stuff, being at the Models the morning after the Yankees win the World Series or playing the World Series to get a hat, like that's where it all started. And, you know, it translated to all the other fashion, the Stussies and the Bapes and stuff like that. To
Crazy.
me.
What are 3 things you have to mark off before you put out a hat? And as a consumer, what are 3 things that you believe, like, before I even cop this fire hat, this hat has to look like this? What are 3 things you think?
So I'll start with being a consumer, just because you said it last. I would say, to me, number 1 is the fit, like how it fits on your head, because this could be your size, but just the fit is crazy, like the brim not bending right and stuff like that. You look for it. Definitely got to be a good undervisor. Like you can't, like it's hit or miss. Like you walk in a store and the first thing you do is lift it up, because if it's a black bottom or it's the same, to me personally, if it's the same bottom as the over brim, then it's a done deal for me.
Oh,
like I
wait,
just
so
can't.
You like to have the.
I like for it to be contrasted. Like I like for the top to tell a different story than the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And I think just personally, that's 2 things that I look for. And another thing I look for as a consumer is the price point. I think in a headwear space, you know, kind of what you're comfortable with. So, you know, me, that is make or break, you know what I'm saying? But it also depends on the store, because if I go into a certain type of store, I'm trying to spend 40. But if I go in a different type of store, I'm trying to spend 80. You know what I'm saying? And if I go into, you know, Louis or some shit, you know, now you making sure, like, you know what I'm saying, like, this not gonna fuck you up for the month. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's definitely like different levels to everything when it comes to it. But, you know, to me personally, is how it's gonna fit and what's gonna be the price. And when it comes to designing, I think the first thing is how can this stand in the same room as something else that I've done. So one thing that I take a lot of pride on is I take a lot of pride that every step that I've designed, every place that I've designed at, the collections look different. So how does this stand in its own world? You know what I'm saying? How does it exist? I don't want to be a bootleg version of myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to continue to do stuff and then be like, oh, but it already looked like some shit you already did. So I think that's 1 for me. 2 is telling authentic stories. I think that, like, a lot of people have things that you're inspired by, but is it authentic? Like, you could sit there and you could design something based off of, like, the train system. Hopefully I'm not offending nobody out there, because there's so much hat shit going on. I'm thinking in my mind, like, I didn't want to say, like, a hypothetical and niggas be like, yo, what you mean by that? So, like, you could sit there and be like, yo, I'm inspired by the train systems and all this different type of stuff and the lines and shit. But at the end of the day, it's like, to me, I'm somebody that I want to dig deeper. Like, I want to dig deeper, like, what type of cartoons I watched growing up, like, what type of foods my mother cooked, what type of fashion I like, what type of things that I wanted but I couldn't afford, what type of things like that. Like, are you telling a story as authentic to you as possible? Because the train system can mean everything to you, because you took the train to work every single day. But at the end of the day, sometimes you could peel back a layer of skin and feel that, like, nah, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the cocoa cherry mango lady. You know what I'm saying? Remember the, you know what I'm saying? Remember the bus to school. Remember shit like that, and you'll find, like, it's such a world of colors and stuff like that. So 2 is making sure I'm telling an authentic story, and I would say 3 is to make sure that I'm still staying true to myself, because a lot of business can make you unrelatable. A lot of business can make you feel like a sellout, even in yourself. And it's also like, are people gonna rally behind this? Am I still gonna feel like the people's champ? I don't want nobody to be like, oh, just because you want to go collab with these motherfuckers, we not gonna support that shit. Like, it's like, you know, you don't want to just take a bag to kind of rub your consumer, your customer the wrong way. Like, does this still look like some JaeTips shit? And, you know, that's probably 3. That's probably the 3 things that I do.
Nah, I love it. Thank you for bringing this one out. Let's get right into your 3rd, last but not least, because I know we got some honorable mentions.
So, yeah, I would say my 3rd go-to is another collaboration. Last year I had a pop-up in New York City for it. This is the Bronx Social Forest Green Yankee with the periwinkle undervisor.
What's it called?
So periwinkle, like it's like it's like lavender.
Spell that for me.
It's yeah, it's in a world of icy bottoms and pinkies and stuff like that. When I like the same thing I said, like people see my Hat Club collection, they see bright fitteds. Right. So when I collab with Bronx Social, I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do something that felt a little bit more like I can throw it on any time, and it kind of like people like, yo, where you got that hat from? Right. And just the bottom, like I wanted to go with a different color bottom. That bottom was also I first used that bottom on a collaboration that I did with JJ Grant, which is another brand, New York City. Shout out to her. We did the periwinkle bottom. So when I did something else with Bronx Social, I brought it back, and it just had a nice touch to it, and a lot of people lined up for this one. And it's something that usually when it's taking me a while to put something together, when it's taking me a while to throw something on, I throw it on. Right. So this is I would say my go-to.
God, no. First of all, I never heard of the word periwinkle. I can't even say it. Periwinkle. But nah, this is a fire color. Like some people would be like, oh, that's just a nice light blue. It's like it's more of a pastel blue, if anything. This is definitely tough, and the simplicity of it. I mean, I'm a huge green. Green's my favorite color, so I could see this would be one of my definite go-to hats for sure. Like, but it's crazy because I know just as much as you are like impactful in the hat culture, like you are a huge sneaker dude. You know what I'm saying? And it's no denying how huge the sneaker culture is and where it's at now. But how much of a connection do you feel like the sneaker and hat culture is? And
I feel like it's the closest comparison, right. And I think that people fight it the most. I think that even when you think about other giants in the hat space, like I think when you think about other people who have made strides in the hat space, sometimes they have a sneaker background. Right. And I think that it's just similar, bro. It's we grew up in that culture of collecting baseball cards, collecting coins, collecting McDonald's toys, like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that hats and sneakers have that stackable value where it's like you always want to get another one, you want to get another one, you want to get this version of it, you want to get that. And especially how the game is trending with like kids lining up and kids reselling them and people wanting to draw on them. And if anything, this is more accepted, right, being a customization than a shoe is, to me personally. And I just think that even seeing it on StockX, seeing it on eBay, seeing fitteds just bloom the way it's bloom, you can only compare it to like the footwear game.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody, like any creators in terms of the hats? Do you have any creators that you look at and you say, damn, I ain't gonna hold you, he makes some fire hats outside of yourself?
Yeah, a lot. I think, which is a crazy conversation to have, but I think I see a lot of people in like that embellish hats that are super dope, like T-Mark, of course. Yeah, I think Lord Fubu is dope. It's so many I could name. I think Loso is dope. I'm gonna miss a million people, but I'm just because you asking me this question right now, it's like it's a lot of different people who I know create on brims that is fire, and we all together made it what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then on the other side of the coin, because I play in both worlds, you know, I fuck with different stores. I fuck with 4U. I fuck with Sports World and Queens. I fuck with like even with Cap USA and Harlem Represents. Like, you know what I'm saying? I fuck with a lot of different like people who create things and are really good at it, like who tell solid stories and also put they all into the shit. Like, so I think I never, like, I'll keep it a buck with you. I haven't really seen anybody that I didn't think knew what they were doing when it comes to the hat stuff. Of course, some people do it better, get more love, but it's an expression. You know what I'm saying? Like, how wrong can you get a Yankee hat? How wrong can you get a Dodger hat or something like that? Like, you know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy? I think the one thing that everybody has in common, the people that you mentioned, like the Lord Fools, T-Mark, Loso, everyone, yourself, I think everyone is impacted by music, right? I know T-Mark, he takes inspiration from a particular time frame of music, right? Like Terror Squad, you have his Terror Squad hats, he has his, Biggie hats. And so music, to me, is also my inspiration, right? So like we spoke before, like the golden age for me is like 2010 to like 2015, maybe even 18. You can kind of stretch out that timeline a little bit more. And during that time, I know that one of the artists that you're a huge fan of, Kanye West, right? During that time, I think that he was at his peak when it came down to not just fashion, but music and fashion, right? And also Pharrell, right? Which one would you feel like really impacted you the most creatively?
I would definitely say Ye. Just because Ye has just the influence that it wasn't just you mentioned a little earlier about like giving somebody tangible, like a product.
Right.
And I think that we've through time obsessed over people who just they're celebrity, but who had it where they can give you something that you also can go home with and it means the world to you. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think Kanye has done that well. Like Kanye has done it well where I woke up and I wanted to wear the Aqua 8s because of him. Right. But then I also wanted to buy the Yeezy because of him. And then I also wanted to make my album cover a certain type of way because of him. But then I also wanted to make a certain type of music because of him. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think if you just have like a checker board of just that, like I think that like it's gotta be Ye.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Kanye kind of opened the doors for a lot of people, even Don C's to have an image. Freaking for us to even get Tisa hats, right? Tisa was huge in the hat culture, you know what I'm saying? And in Virgil as well, like, everyone getting their light, you know what I mean? Because
it's so like even that, like as you continue to speak, there's so many different people who've done things that have influenced or inspired, or it's still like people to me, like a lot of my brand is like how like I seen 40 ounce van like be able to promote a hat, drop it on the gram, and niggas go crazy. Or you go outside and you see everybody wearing it, and it's just so many different people like Don C and even Joe Fresh Goods, and just so many different people who have been able to have success in this lane and be able to sustain like a good image and turn it into good brands and just do something from just the way they kind of like dominate like the hat space. Like even people I've collaborated with, JJ Grant and 22 and just stuff like that. Like like everybody has their own style and everybody has their own way to like dominate their lane, and it's so much more like look at the sneaker game. Like we only like Nike, Adidas, and shit. Like there's so many different headwear brands that you could support. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody's killing their shit.
But you see, I think some people don't understand too. For you, the savior hats, right? These are something that a lot of people have really caught wind of, right? And even the celebs. And one thing when I found out was the savior hats wasn't really just a brand, right? At first, it was an album, right? It was like your 12th album that you was putting out, and then for some reason, the merch just caught a whirlwind of attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you know that this was gonna happen? Like, how did you feel about that?
Well, of course, I would want it to happen, but I definitely didn't think it would happen that way. Like when it came to like, just insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Right. When it came to putting out music, I think I've always had the utmost confidence. I've always had a confidence that I don't sound like nobody. My music doesn't really like feel like it's a trend. Like it was always an expression. It was my venting process. It was therapeutic to me. But at the end of the day, it's like, let's be honest, you still have to sell shows. You still have to sell tickets. Crazy. You still have to drive streams. You still have to make a little bit of revenue because it costs money to keep your music on Apple Music and through TuneCore and stuff. So it needs to bring in a little bit. Like, so when it came to preparing for the savior, little maybe everybody doesn't know the story, but growing up, people used to call me like the Uptown Savior. Like they used to be like, yo, you the Uptown Savior or whatever, because of course I'm from the North Bronx, but we used to call it Uptown. Like we used to say this is our Uptown. Like of course we used to have mad like MySpace beats for people from Harlem and all this stuff, but we used to say this our Uptown. Right. And it's like, so the people would say like I was like one of the pioneers of that. And just like when it came to creating the music for the Savior, I felt like I was back in that space. I felt like I was back in that space where I had some shit to prove and I needed to put my neighborhood back on my back. Right. And it's not on some like Robin Hood type shit or nothing like that. Like I just felt like I feel like the Tips that grew up where I grew up. I don't feel like Tips that was in Soho. I don't feel like Tips that's been on flights all over the country and shit. I feel like Tips that's from the Bronx.
Right.
And when it came to how you're gonna market that, like, you know, of course it was like make to fit it. Right. Of course it was like, you know, my dream is to have a Nike shoe. I be talking to Nike through all these focus groups and shit, but they always gonna view you as a kid that's in the focus groups. Like they always gonna view you as a customer. They always gonna view you as the kid that just only buys every single shoe that comes out. So he's not our audience. We already got him. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I felt that that wouldn't pan out, I was like, you know what? Let me customize something. But let me customize it through like the Nike Bespoke program, which is advanced materials, which is, it doesn't look like Nike ID. Like it looks like you can design every single pattern on the shoe and every single fine detail, but it's $1,000 flat rate. But to me, I was like, you know what? This ends up on the gram. Niggas gonna think my shoe coming out. And that's what happened. People was calling stores. People was like, yo, this shit coming out. I need those, bro. Really? My phone blowing up. My followers blowing up. Blogs is posting it. Everybody posting it. So I rolled out with the shoe. I rolled out with the hats. And I rolled out with the merch. Right. And from that point on, people was just like, yo, bro, like the music cool, but I need a hat. Right. People was like, yo, bro, like I'm gonna repost your shit, but you got this in a 7.5, you got this 718, and you know, then the pandemic hit, and I was still selling hats, what was surprisingly, but it was like my resources was down, like my website going crazy, like almost so much like imposter syndrome, where it's like you thinking something went wrong. Right. Like how did I wake up to 12 orders today? Like the first thing you do, go check your gram, go check if like a celebrity says something or something happened. Nothing, just the brand picking up.
Wait, so before you put the hat on, to cut you off, were you already getting celebrity contacts hitting you up before you put the album out in the hat?
Because the thing about me is I was already like tapped in, like, and the thing about that is that sometimes tough to tell my story is, of course, people see what goes on with me now with like brand deals and collaborations and stuff, but I was selling shoes, I was doing a lot of different things. My music, like I wasn't fucking Kanye West, but at the end of the day, it's like I was on XXL, I was on The Source, I was on like Respect Mag, I was at SOBs. I was selling 500 tickets to a show and shit. And it was like, I remember a time when like it was one day, bro. Like within one day, I dropped off some kicks at The Source. I met my homegirl at XXL. And then I like went and bought something from like Bape, and then I dropped something off to my boy ASAP 12. Like, and I was like, yo, all that shit has to do with fashion. It didn't really have to do with my music. So I did understand that I had a outlet through still being connected, but I didn't really have, like, my music didn't always work its way back into it. Right. So when people seeing things pop off for me, I think sometimes they think things just popped off for me because of this situation, but it was like, nah, JaeTips already had mad foots into mad different doors, and it's like this shit kind of just helped me kick it more open. Yes, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not coincidence that I meet so many people that be like, yeah, I knew Tips forever. Right. I knew Tips forever because I was outside. I was moving. You know what I'm saying? But this shit just took it to another level that I could have. When I'm in my living room, like I said, like during the pandemic when I'm buying hats off eBay, buying hats off stores and shit, and the stores are taking 2 weeks to ship just because they can't even go into their store because of COVID, or they can't do shit like that. Like, I had to thug it out that way, and then when I was able to touch the people, like, I didn't even realize that I was touching that many people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a lot changed.
You know what's crazy? I am big on divine timing.
Yeah.
Huge on when it comes down to believing in yourself, right? And the Savior brand, I think, is just, it goes beyond just hats and the album, right? I feel like divine timing through the universe. you chose the name, right? Savior, right? And it was almost funny because it's like it was almost like a savior for yourself, right? It was like almost like a metaphor to, or I would say like a branch out from you staying down, you staying consistent, right? And now you're delivering a product which was obviously for your music, but then it's expanded out and God said, yo, I'm gonna give you more than just musical like notices, and I'm gonna give you a notice through through your perspective, you know what I mean? Through your creativity and which implants and shows on the hat. So Savior to me is just goes beyond just a hat phrase. It's like almost like your life theme, you know what I mean?
It's been my calling card, man. I've been in rooms with rappers where I didn't feel like I was just like them. I've been in rooms with fashion designers where I just didn't feel like I was them. I've been in a lot of different spaces where it's like I knew that I had a lot of different energies inside of me that I needed to somehow be able to express, and I've been able to express that through clothing and collaboration and colorways and stuff like that. Like sometimes it sounds crazy, but sometimes I just needed to make something green for me to be able to feel better about like what I got going on. Like I just want people to see something green when they walk into my booth or they walk into my pop-up, just because it's like that's how I'm feeling right now. And I may have not known how to express that when maybe I was just sitting in front of a microphone or something like that. One of the things that people may not maybe see through my journey is that I invested 13 years into a different craft. You know what I'm saying? So I think that sometimes when you see things a different type of way, like the same way if you got a college degree for science and you end up with another good paying job, like no matter what it is, you start to always sometimes feel like, yo, this ain't even what I went to school for. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much like if I a hypothetical, everything that people know me for right now is not what I went to school with. Like that's not what I was doing. Like, bro, I was in park ciphers. I was shooting music videos. I was crazy. All my interviews online. Like you Google my name and shit, you gonna see articles and shit about my music and shit. Like I put so much time into another craft and shit. So sometimes I do feel a little bit jealous of myself. You know what I'm saying? Because the first time I seen myself on a screen in a sneaker store wasn't because it was my own shoe. It was because I was doing media for Jimmy Jazz. But think about it, that's still your face. You know what I'm saying? Or the first time I got a collaboration with a company, it wasn't because I had albums like Travis Scott. It was because I make hats and shit. So it's like the chips are different, but it's a lot of the same, because even with like a song like Wait Your Turn, where I'm talking about like stuck in my grind and shit, like being stuck in the grind where you're just so committed, you sacrifice so many different things and you put so much on the line, and when your friends are out partying, you feel like you need to be stuck in the studio, you need to do that, but then your shit go double splinter. You know what I'm saying? Or then you don't really get those blog articles, or the people that you relied on to get a write-up is now like they work at a different magazine, or they don't even do media no more, some shit and you know that part was a lot real humbling, but I still wanted to be my kids' superhero through all of that shit. Like, why my kids need to look up to Spider-Man and Superman and shit when they can look up to me? Like, I go outside every day, get it done. I travel, I do shit, I make my dreams come true and shit. Why shouldn't they see that from up close? Some of the Savior 2 demons, some of the Remember Who Fronted demons is the understanding that my life has changed, the understanding that things have changed and people have changed too. Like the situation have changed, but I have changed. Like sometimes it feels like your skin is like you shedding your skin. Like the same way you felt about things, you feel differently. You know what I'm saying? And I think that you start to notice and realize situations differently too. Like as a independent artist, most can vouch for this. Sometimes you look in the crowd and you realize the people that's not there and not really appreciate the people that are there. So I think the people that kind of I noticed that disappeared sometimes at the hardest times during like Savior 2, during like Remember Who Fronted, I maybe realized that a lot and kind of like position myself to maybe feel like, damn, like I needed y'all and shit, which is a lot of hurt, which is a lot of pain, it's a lot of vulnerability and shit like that. But it's like y'all kind of went missing at the wrong time, and then shit changed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody in their life feel like how many times you done argue with a female or you argue with somebody that you in a situation with, and you like, watch when I come up, watch when my life change and shit. And I got a little glimpse of that. I got a little glimpse of watching a lot change for me, and remembering all the people that pretty much treated me like whatever, like, you know, like literally, like it ain't nothing else but like whatever. You ain't the only one that do that. You ain't the only one going through shit, nigga. Whatever.
Right. God,
so, like shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, everything you said was A1, and I'm gonna break into more questions, but I'm gonna have you get into your honorable mentions. I'm inspired, man. I am. Nah, truly, yo, truly. Like when I came inside the building, I said, God damn, you know, this is like exactly what I always wanted. And to see you have it, man, it's definitely inspirational. But I know this is your 3, and like I said, I am in love with this bottom. Like, I never really care about the bottom of the hat. Like, I mean, I'll get one. Like, I'm not against it. Yeah. But this color is special. Like, I love colors, bro, and this color is definitely different. I'm gonna have to look it up. But let's get into your honorable mentions. I know you got a shitload, but let's see what you got.
So I'll say some of my honorable mentions. I would say my collaboration with City Jeans. I think these 2 hats, the Fordham University and the D Train, I think these are just hats that even when I designed them, I didn't know that was gonna go with so many of my outfits. Right. So many things that I wear a lot. It has the On Field 2000 patch on the Met. It's the rust orange top, the black brim, the gray undervisor, and the Fordham Road also has the Fordham University has the forest green upper, the 75 patch with the periwinkle in it, which is tribute to my Bronx Social hat. Has the burgundy wine color brim, and then it has also classic gray undervisor, always white insides on any JaeTips collaboration ever. Just because at the end of the day, we want to treat this as special as we can treat this. Right. So what is gonna get dirty? Take care of your hat. Yeah. Don't wear it every day. So those are honorable mentions. These hats mean a lot to me because I just can put them on and I can go crazy with them anytime. A lot of different fits. I can be chilling, or I can put on a nice outfit. Like you put them on a button up of one of these, or you can put on some sweats and just chill. Some of the other stuff I'm gonna run through that means something to me was
when did these come out?
These came out last November.
Last November, okay.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me get through just the good stuff first. All right, I got What the JaeTips, which is my 2 infamous HATCLUB hats in one, which is a 2-tone.
That is tough.
But it's the two most known HATCLUB drops from me put into one.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah. So you know that this means something to me. That's another honorable mention.
Right.
Let's get through it.
God damn! Wait, hold up, man. Like, once again, the color schemes, bro. Like the contrast. Now I understand. I'm learning because I wasn't thinking about the contrast too much between the brim. Yeah. And the underbrim, right? I'll see someone have a black hat and then just have a different underbrim, but we're talking about contrast between the crown of the hat, the brim of the hat, top of the brim of the hat, and that's
every single
fire.
You know, like I said, this is
fire.
Every single way someone takes a picture of you or they snap anything of you, they're gonna see some flavor from a different angle.
Right.
And that's why this hat means something to me. Let me see what else I have until I get into some Savior.
Yes, sir.
Let me see. All right, so this means something to me too, just because of it. You know, just the 2 tones or whatever. I think that where New Era brand was in a certain aspect, where like every store is overwhelming amount of color ups and different hats. I think when I catered the 2-tone collection that I did with HATCLUB, like this hat to me just stood out from the pack. So I think this was like the best one to me. So this means something to me. Honorable mention, Big 99. It's just clean to me, like a carrot influence.
Yeah.
So this meant something to me.
That's tough.
And then when it comes to Save Your Hats, of course, my Halloween collaboration with JJ Grant, the Jungle Hat. We dropped that in New York City in the Bronx. And, you know, one thing that she has been known for is just the way that she designs and seeing things where no one else sees it. And just, you don't even see hats in the marketplace with anything on the brim. Like, you see like Balenciaga hats and shit like that, but when it comes to what we were talking about earlier about taste levels and price points and stuff like that, like, this is us being able to design on a level where like we're meeting the consumer kind of where we are. Like, of course, it's an elevated price point. I think we sold this hat at $140. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's like this is a proud $140. This is some real Nipsey Hussle proud to pay shit. Where you see the robot head by the Yankee, you see the robot gun on the other side of the Yankee. Like, this was one of my honorable mentions. Definitely about like a hat. This is one of my favorite collaborations. That's another one. Let me see what else I have.
Can I just hold that one?
Yeah.
I seen this one on online, and I was like you guys found a new space of real estate to really go on to. I didn't think about it. I seen T-Mark do his collaboration like that before. I seen T-Mark hat like that, but this one was like, I love this idea. Like, I didn't even thought about putting something on the top part of the brim. I never thought about that. And then the ideas on the patchwork. This is tough at the pink bottom. Like, golly. This is like one of my favorite ones, bro. I ain't gonna front, because you had a couple colorways in that one, right?
Yeah, we had this one in a red also. Yeah. And then we also did fire. So this was the first hat that me and JJ Grant collabed on, which was our dirty Atlanta hat. And just this being 3M, we went to Atlanta and we dropped these, and it pretty much set shit off. Like, people was walking in a pop-up like, what in the fuck did y'all do? And like I said, proud to pay. Like a $30 hat that we put our spice on, and we can charge $140. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people are proud to pay for it. Like, I know, I'm pretty sure people look at it like, oh, but you're reselling, or you're doing this. It's like, no, this is creative on level 12. Like, you know what I'm saying?
This is 15, 20,
this is us.
1,000.
This is us being able to walk in your house and make it look different. You know what I'm saying? This is us able to do something that you traditionally see and pimp it. You know, pimp your ride type shit.
Right.
And,
yeah.
You know,
I
so
love that S right next to it. Yeah, that's
one of my favorites. Another hat honorable mention. This was actually a gift. This is one of a female in the hat space that was one of the first people that I felt like I can really like get to model a hat for me or do anything. When she got an opportunity, Less Diggity, she got an opportunity to design for HATCLUB. She inspired her hat after me. So
with the infrared
Angels hat, for tribute Fev on some fly. So you see like a fly, and you know, the periwinkle bottom. She signed it for me, white insides and stuff. So, you know, shout out to her. It's one of my, like, I won't even wear this hat because it means something to me. Like, it's sitting in my office. So that's one of my honorable mentions. Let me see what else I got.
Oh, that was an inspired one. That's crazy, man. Look how you inspire people. That's wild.
So this is actually a commissioned work that I did with HATCLUB, where HATCLUB reached out to me, T-Mark, and Yodi City to do a NBA draft night theme where we designed patches, and customers were able to come in and buy the Knick hat or Suns hat or whatever NBA hats they had and be able to get one of our patches for free. So you can see this is the T-Mark patch. These two in the back, I believe, are the HATCLUB ones that they designed. And this is a Yodi City hat. And the two on the front are mine. You know, like, I have a little bit of bragging rights over them. Because you guys right in the front. Because they, you know, the NBA approved two of my designs. Yeah. So they used both of them.
That's crazy.
So I got them both on the front. So this is just, you know, official licensed patches that was able to be at the event. So that's one of my flexes.
This is tough. Yo, wait, hold up. All right, hold on. Before we keep going, because there's a couple of hats I'm like, I want to bring back, but this one right here is fire because, number one, I love this one right here. This one right here with the green. Yeah, see, now I get it now. Yes, your colorways are very distinctive, and I love that. But the fact that you guys are collaborating with the NBA, right, to kind of bring forward a new concept, a new direction, a new art concept to the hat, it just speaks volumes, man. Even if it's just a patch, just seeing how the patchwork kind of just elevated the hat alone. Like, this hat is hard with the nick. Nah, this is a good hat, bro. God damn, I want this hat. I don't know if it's anymore, but god damn, I need that one.
Maybe it may be somebody with the patches around somewhere. But I've seen people getting busy throwing them in their pockets and stuff that day.
Right.
So let me
That's
see.
tough.
Let me throw another. You see another one. A few flexes. This is actually this hat means something to me because this was one, if you know my brand, I'm known for fitteds. This is one of my few snapbacks. It was a collaboration with the brand 22. This was the first person that reached out to me like, yo, bro, I see you moving. Let's do something. And, you know, just to have NY, have Yankee, have Met logo, green under
Did he
visor.
originate that right here? Because I see a lot
that's
of
his
people.
logo.
That's his.
That's his logo, yeah.
Shit, shout out to
So,
him.
you know, so this is a collaboration, and definitely during like pandemic and stuff that we put out with that. It was probably the first time that I can remember, like, one of those times that you see like your website going like bing, 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 just from sales and shit. And just like he was one of my inspirations, definitely when it came to, bro, go crazy with this shit. Go crazy with whatever you do. And he's still killing shit. So this definitely means something to me. You know, I'm piling the hats over here. It actually looked like a good photo moment on the side. And let me see.
Oh God, man! I remember seeing his logo, and I didn't know that was somebody particular. But
oh,
that's
definitely.
crazy.
I didn't even bring this one up. So this is also my purple HATCLUB hat. This means something to me just because it is probably the one that looks the prettiest. Like it's something. It still look clean. The pink under visor.
So
you know what I'm saying? It's just super duper. Like you already know. I don't even want to talk about it more because if y'all probably own it. They've made thousands. So
I want to hold these.
yeah, of course.
Yo, it's just it's the color schemes, man.
I had a few other ones in there. I think
Working
that I
color
want to show you
schemes.
this one because this is like the territory that I'm in now.
Tough.
When it comes to just a lot of the situations that I have going on in the headwear space, that hopefully when people either go back to this interview or when they hear this, they know that I have a lot of shit coming.
Right.
Because I've probably worked on 70 hats that you haven't even seen yet that's supposed to come out this year and it's June. Like, so, but for as far as my brand, like I'm going in a direction where I'm manufacturing my own fitted.
Tough. Okay.
So you see like the SW Savior Worldwide. This was a SneakerCon LA patch.
Yeah.
You know, we got the smiley face on the back. We got
yeah.
Savior, Feather on some fly. We got the orange under visor. And then we have just a lot of personalized details that you won't get in your standard New Era hat, where it says Fab on some fly, Savior Tour. It says it has the size tag. It has my logo, my Murakami inspired logo to Savior Worldwide. Just the details are off the chain. Where it's kind of like what we spoke about before. It's like when somebody spends money with you, I want to show you what you're paying for and stuff like that.
God damn it.
So you know, it's just like, you know, we just creating over here, man. We building. we linking and building.
Oh God, man. It's just, I'm just a big fan on like originality, right? Yeah. And I know, like, obviously, you know, the Yankee logos, the Mets logos, you know, the MLB logos, they already had their sanction, right? They're ready. We already know, you know what I mean? But when you can put together a hat that is yours, right? Like you said, this is your new eras, right? This is your version of it. And the SW is the original logo. You got the Savior on the back with the smiley face. I love the placements. And this patch right here is hard. The colorways, bro, the fucking light blue with the fucking forest green and with the orange underbrim is the cleanest color scheme I've seen in so long.
Me having such a long history with making hats.
Right.
I didn't have hats at Nordstrom. You know what I'm saying? So it's just me being in different battles and having different things going on all the time. But this right here was, you know, LA. I look at for as far as my brand, not myself.
Right.
Damn sure not for myself.
Right.
But for my brand, I look at LA as like a second home. I feel like LA has embraced what I do with Savior and what I do through collaborations, and you can see through the sales on the website, you can see through the analytics that LA fucks with JaeTips.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just like when I did the Randy's Donut inspired LA Savior Tour hat, like, you know, we went there because, you know, a lot of people may not know too, is like, I being such a fan of marketing and a fan of how you tell a story, in the beginning I couldn't sleep dropping an LA hat and not going to LA to take the picture.
Yeah, right.
Or I couldn't sleep dropping the Chicago White Sox hat
and not going to Chicago
without doing something in Chicago.
Right.
So LA being the first place that I did a Savior pop-up, and me coming back less than a year later and dropping this hat, they showed out for me. We made like custom donut boxes. We did like just a series of just like, we got the neon on the wall, like the pop-up was really nice, and a lot of people showed out 2 different days. Even the second day with like a lot of stuff not there, they still came through and just took pictures with me and talked to me and just hung out, and like I appreciate this hat a lot, like just because like we've talked about throughout the span of the interview, I've wore different hats even just in the hat game as well, not just my personal life. I've wore different hats when it comes to just designing, you know what I'm saying? Like I got plain shit that got a lot of embroidery, and then I got shit with color with no embroidery.
Right.
So it's like I kind of like got a lot of different departments in my one brand.
Yo, I love this hat. I seen this hat online, and I saw you go outside, right? You was kind of dapping everybody up that was lined up to come pick up the hat. I know that was a huge moment for you, because I definitely understand that, you know, you're doing a city hat. It just feels good, you know, marketing. Like you have to be.
You want to be.
know?
You want to be embraced too. Like I think anybody would be lying if they say that they want to be liked.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't want people to be like, I'm a culture vulture or he not from here and shit. So if I want to, you know, get in good with the people, you go to them.
Yeah. I guess my last question for you is, you know, seeing all this success, right, from rapping to now having your own brand that's just starting to go into its own direction, right? And there's so many people right now, just like the girl that made her Angels hat, like they're inspired by you, right? And there's so many people right now that they want to take their own, they want to see their vision come to life like yours is. Like, what is one thing that you would tell someone who's aspiring to do whatever it is that's in their mind, whatever their vision is? What's one thing you would give them advice?
I think don't block your blessings. I think that you may not know exactly what that means, but I think sometimes you have to leave doors open to a lot of different blessings to come your way. And I think that comes with just being positive, coming with just fighting and continuing to sacrifice and continuing to do things you don't always want to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that one day you want to call out of work, that might be the day that somebody's going to walk in and offer you another job. Right. That's going to be a day that somebody comes in and shakes your hand. Like, if I be transparent, a story maybe that I've never told people, that my Hat Club collab came from me walking in Hat Club.
It's crazy.
It didn't come from me sitting in my living room and being on the internet. My City Jeans collab came from me walking in City Jeans on Fordham Road trying to see what they had, and they were like, yo, aren't you from the Bronx? You did that collab with these people. How come you never collab with us? And it came from that. So it's like sometimes you have to be outside. You have to be at events. You have to step outside of your comfort zone to be able to receive what the universe is willing to give you. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's simple. It's simpler than you think. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, you got to be outside, and it ain't nothing gonna happen to you if you don't. If you scared for it to happen.
You know, it's crazy. I think the internet kind of made everybody lazy, because everyone thinks that your connection with people can come via DM, via posting pictures and just liking, right? But you forget, there's a human aspect to this. Like, bro, it's nothing like coming around and shaking somebody's hand and saying, what's up, man? Like, I love what you're doing, and then connecting with them on that level. That's one of the things I had to learn was, no, you do have to be outside. You do have to go outside. You do have to go to particular events and be more, personable, because that right there, that interaction is what we really know, not just the interaction online, right? So, I definitely love what you just said, man. Thank you for that. So, this last segment is pretty much your red carpet rollout. This is where I kind of just step back and you kind of let the audience know what you have going on, what you have coming out next. Everything that you got going is on you.
All right, so
here.
what I got going next is more of what you've seen from me. I got some hat drops. I got some cities I'm gonna hit up, some cities I'm gonna surprise. I got some flavors. I got some stuff that you're gonna bust your wallet open for. You know what I'm saying? So just stay tuned. Follow me on everything, JaeTips. Just lock in with me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep delivering.
Yeah,
Promise
that's a
it.
fact. So you already know, Tips, I appreciate you.
You already know. Thank you.
Pulled out some shit that's probably some of my favorite hats right now. So I love it, man. Everybody already know what to do. Just get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about JaeTips. You already know him. I already seen you guys have reviews about his hats online, which is fucking crazy. So yeah, man, just get in the comments. Let me know. I'll leave his information in the bio so you guys can hit him up. Tips, this was a dope experience, man. Super dope.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man.
For real, man. So guys, till next time. Tips. My guy, man. God damn it, man.